Welcome back to the Oddity Shop podcast, the podcast where we
tell you creepy, odd, weird, strange, and bizarre stories from around the globe.
I'm your curator, the Big Bad Wolf.
And I am your other curator, Donnie Darko. And my brain blanked. Okay, we're back in costume this week. Hello, happy Halloween-ish. What day are we today?
We are October 23rd, so we're very close.
Ooh, just over a week from Halloween. Okay.
So yes, you are dressed as Donnie Darko. You look very, what's the, not mysterious, what is?
Macabre?
He's like, yeah, there you go. And I am the Big Bad Wolf, like trying to be disguised as Little Red Riding Hood.
It's cute. It's cute. It's chic. I like it. Those are good wolf ears.
They're the ones that I actually use for the bunny ears for the crazy rabbit in Donnie Darko when we dressed up. I just took the foil off.
Hey, look at that. We're still almost in the same sync here. Okay, so what's new with you?
Well, I took the week off and my goal was to deep clean like every room of the house and really organize. If y'all know, then I went to hospital and I haven't really been feeling well. But today I did deep clean this room.
Good.
And this is going to sound like I'm a hoarder. I promise I'm not a hoarder. Zach can attest to this. I'm not a hoarder. But I threw out, I think it was like 3 or 4 full garbage bags of stuff. Just like craft stuff and just like shit that I've kept that like
purge
we
feels
don't need.
So good though.
And I mean, I have bins. They were all organized-ish. Like, you know, the bins looked organized, but like I went through every bin. I went through all kinds of shit, like all my arts and crafts, all the stuff. And so like, I feel so good. It took me hours and I felt very, very overwhelmed earlier, but I'm like looking around and all my like shelves are like more like put together. Like it feels much better in
that
here.
Lightness when you just purge things feels so good.
Yes. So I feel really great. And then I know that I was talking about a couple episodes ago, like I'm pretty sure I have ADHD. What I've been doing, and I don't know if I said this on that episode, but timers have really been my best friend. 20 minutes timers. And it sounds crazy.
Dude, I use timers all day.
But I keep resetting the 20-minute timer, even though I'm doing the same task. It makes me get so much more things done in the 20 minutes because I'm just like, ooh, the timer. And so like when I got overwhelmed, I'm like, just set some timers. And I just set a bunch of timers.
I'm going to show you my weekly template and my timers thing next time we're together. So I could, like, this is literally how I've controlled it's to the point now where I rely on these lists. But okay.
I do have one funny thing. If we're going to let's get off of like.
Oh, I am. I got a funny thing for you too.
Okay. Tell your funny thing, then I'll tell mine.
I know we're in the future, but can you believe that when the rapture happened, we weren't taken? Because for us, it's like the day after the rapture was supposed to happen. And I was really hoping for some like extra peace and quiet, but I don't think anybody got taken.
So I'm sure Sarah's going to tell you because I accidentally, because you know me in TikTok, I just like post TikTok. I don't know what happened, but I was looking at a Bailey Sarian and she's like, oh, I missed the rapture. I don't know how, but I accidentally sent it to Sarah. Like,
oh, that's Sarah. Okay. That's totally fine because me and her have been sending rapture TikToks back and forth.
Sorry, I accidentally sent this. This is Kara, but it's funny anyway.
It's because if you go to share or repost any of it, she's probably the top one that pops up.
It was, and I accidentally hit it. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, we're still here. On one of our YouTube shorts, it was for a teaser, like a teaser Tuesday for like the upcoming episode.
Yeah.
And somebody on YouTube just put blocked as a comment.
Love it.
And I said, thanks for your support.
Literally every comment helps the algorithm. So keep the hate coming. We love it.
Blocked. For what reason? I don't know. It's like the weirdest video to say that on, but whatever. All right. Oh,
I was going to say, I don't have that much this week.
Okay. October 23rd.
Ooh, we can tease. Sorry.
What?
October 30th. You guys better tune in because we have a really, really fun episode with a special guest for Halloween.
And I just have to say, this is not what I was gonna say, but I have to say, this guest just made my heart so full. He
was amazing.
Well, now it's a he, so we all know it. So now you guys can guess. That's okay. I had so much fun. Like, I didn't know what to expect. I had so much fun and just the most wholesome person ever. So There's your hinter. Hinter? There's your hinter. What I was going to say is, because we're getting to that point, we're going to, what convention are we going to? What is it called?
Oh, yeah. We're going to Mysteries of the Fort in Fort Wayne, Indiana, November 7th through 9th. And if you come to this, I know we always say the events we've gone to, but we have never gotten a vendor table before. And we're going to have a super cool giveaway at our vendor table with free entry. So if you are going to that event, or if you're not going to that event and you're now interested, come check us out in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Yeah. I think it'd be fun. I think I'm very excited to, like, work is not the right word, but quote unquote, like,
be on the other side of it. Yeah.
Because I feel like I think we're going to meet more people.
Right.
Because people are going to come to our table and, like, we get to chat, and then hopefully we can make some TikToks. My outfits came in today. I didn't send them to you.
Oh my God. I haven't even thought about outfits.
Because it's winter now. So we have to wear, like, winter outfits. I'm going to send you when we get off. They're very cute.
Okay.
I'm very excited. Anyway.
Let's get into it. Are we ready?
Do you have a question?
I do have a question.
Ask me.
If you could ask a question to any person who has already passed, who would it be, and what's the first question you're asking?
Oh, shit. Oh my God. This is a prepare question.
That's okay. Take a minute. I can cut all the silence.
No, I'm trying really hard. Are we saying, like, famous people?
Anybody.
Okay. I'm sorry. Anyone that passed, one question.
Who would it be, and what's the first question?
Well, it would be my grandpa, but I don't know what question I would ask.
I'll take that. That's a fair answer.
I've thought about this so many times. Every time we go and we talk to Exie, or we talk to, like, I always think about this.
Yeah.
And I don't know I don't have a question. I guess I need to think of it.
That's okay, though. I'll let it go without the question. I like the answer.
Yeah, my grandma's my best friend. Pretty much shaped me into the human I am.
I thought about it too, and I kind of went family on this one. And if you listened a while back now to the Leopoldville episode, I would ask John McGowan why all those synchronicities led us there.
Oh, that's a really good question.
Yeah, I thought so.
So then I was trying to think of, like, celebrity or, like, famous person. Like, is there one you could think of that you would want to ask a question to?
Ooh, Betty White, baby. I wouldn't know what to ask first, but I've loved her so much.
You know what just came to my brain? Sorry, I have to just tell you. Brittany Murphy. Because I want to know what happened.
What? Yeah, that's a good one. Okay.
If you guys are OGers, you know.
If you know, you know.
OG oddballs, you know. We covered that. Okay.
I hopefully not too much of a long one, but it might be. So we're going to get into it. Let's set the scene. Ooh. If you were anything like me when you were younger, you loved a chance to scare your friends and yourself, especially around spooky season. So you might gather together, light some candles, dim the lights in the room, and somebody pulls out a Ouija board.
Oh,
the excitement grows. Maybe one or two friends get freaked out and dip, which was always a bad idea in my house because that's the people who got messed with by the spirit. But for those who move forward, you put your hands on the planchette and you start to ask questions. Maybe you get answers. Maybe you don't. But if you did, you've definitely blamed somebody for moving it. But Kara, have you ever stopped and wondered about the history of the Ouija board?
Wow. We did cover a little bit of history. Was it last year's episode?
No, that was our first Halloween.
Oh my God. Wait.
Also, we are coming up. Actually, when did we launch? On the is today our 3-year anniversary?
No, Halloween.
No, we did 5 episodes leading up to Halloween.
Right.
I think we're 2 days out. Hold on.
Who's afraid of the big bad?
We are apparently, today's the 23rd of October. We're 4 days out from our birthday.
I was just going to say it was the 27th. Yeah.
Yes, it was. Okay, we're close.
Whatever. We're so close. Let's do something cute. I wish we could be together because we could get a cake.
Oh, I know we should. Well, we could each get a cake.
4 years?
3.
3
years old. I don't. Oh my God. Okay, we need to get into it. Sorry,
3?
We'll come back. We can't be nostalgic. Yeah. Okay. To understand how we got to the Ouija board today, and I know, Kara did cover it a little bit. This is going to go way more in depth, but we have to go back to spiritualism in the 19th century.
Yes.
And these are people Kara have talked about before, but enter two lovely ladies that we've talked about in the past, identified as being the birth of the spiritualist movement. And that would be none other than Margaret and Kate.
I don't remember.
Fox, the Fox sisters.
Oh, the Fox sister. Oh, I'm a fox. No, I'm not. I'm a wolf.
Close enough. Okay. So in 1848, Hydesville, New York, the Fox sisters begin to hear a mysterious rapping noise or knocking coming from inside their house. They quickly realized, though, that it was not coming from the house itself, but they decided it was from a disembodied spirit named Mr. Splitfoot. So he was apparently the spirit of a deceased peddler who had been murdered in the home prior.
Okay.
Now, they were able to learn this by finding ways to communicate with the knocking and found it was giving intelligent responses, right? So, I mean, you know, as well as I could, we could spend hours and hours just talking about the Fox sisters alone and all their controversy, which you've done.
Have I?
You did in another episode. I can't remember why you got into it, but we talked about their hoaxiness for sure.
Okay.
But the most important thing to note about them is that they became an absolute sensation and they traveled around the U.S. doing this spirit communication. They do kind of go back and forth. They admit it's a hoax, but then they pull it back. A lot of things with, you know, they were making the knocking noises with joints in their feet, but whatever.
I don't think we did a full episode on them.
No, we should at some point.
Okay, so I started to I'm sorry to interrupt you. I started to when the whole Satori and
I think it was when we were talking about the Conjuring house.
What's her fiance's name? Cody. When the whole Satori and Cody thing started, I actually started writing a Fox Sisters episode and I never did it because I think you and I were like, let's hold off and like,
yes.
But I actually have partially written. So you know what? But we have talked about them.
True. Okay. Yes. We'll probably at some point do a whole, honestly, even spiritualism in itself could be a whole thing.
For sure. Deep dive.
So anyways, though, spiritualism kind of gets hooked into U.S. culture because of them. And the movement is insanely popular. So it's noted as a social religious movement that was popular in the 19th and 20th century. The tenets of it and the beliefs were that once somebody passes, their awareness persists and they are able to not only evolve spiritually, but continue to interact with people on Earth. Probably literally why there's still so many of us paranormal enthusiasts today. But these, you know, the spirits would not only communicate, but they could also advise the living on ethical and moral issues, the nature of God, and all sorts of things.
The Fox sisters went viral before viral was a thing.
I know.
They were viral.
So because then, though, of the existence of the spirit world and their ability to interact with us, right, spiritualism and those practicing it found all sorts of creative ways for us to be able to interact with and speak to our spirit guides, our past loved ones, and more. Part of the reason, too, why this took off is America was in a religious upheaval at the time. We were kind of going through industrialization, and there was also a lot of death. Not only industrialization, but we've got, you know, Civil War into World War I during this time period. People were looking for ways to communicate. The important thing is, though, is like spiritualism was a practice, but it wasn't a religion. Like, it wasn't crazy for people to go to a seance Saturday night and then go to church on Sunday. Like, they really married these two worlds together. It wasn't like one was evil and one was good.
Welcome to the legendary Henderson Castle, the second most haunted place in Michigan.
This October, step inside if you dare. Join them for their haunted Halloween murder mystery dinners, October 24th, 25th, and 26th from 6 to 9 p.m., an evening of suspense, a full gourmet dinner, and spooky-themed cocktails. 3 hours of delicious danger.
Then, on October 29th, 30th, and 31st, bring the family for the Children's Haunted Apple Orchard Maze and Haunted Castle tours from 5 to 9 p.m. Ghosts, goblins, and a few friendly frights await.
Experience a wine tasting in the Castle Wine Cave. Enjoy a free sample of their signature Blood of the Castle wine.
For tickets and details, visit hendersoncastle.com/events. This Halloween, history haunts these halls. Which, why can't that be now? I mean, I guess it can, but it's like not. I don't know.
Right. I think there are people who do it well. But, you know, it's for the most part, things are, it's occult, it's demonic, whatever. Okay. So during this period, though, we see the rise of mediums and seances, you know, think sitting around the floating table with everyone's holding hands and the crystal ball in the center. And, you know, ectoplasm is coming out of people's mouths, although a lot of hoax in there, too. Or the spirit cabinets. Those were big at this time. So people were really using these seances to connect with the dead, sometimes for entertainment, sometimes for closure. Fun fact, do you know that Abe Lincoln actually was consulting with mediums in the spiritualist movement?
Yes.
He literally was like consulting with this woman named Nettie about how and when to give the Emancipation Proclamation. Yeah. And this is like super well documented.
I love Abe Lincoln. And
right?
Sorry, this is just a little off topic.
Oh, let's go.
Abe Lincoln, the Vampire Slayer. Is it Vampire Slayer? Hunter.
I never watched it. Yeah, it was.
Okay. I haven't watched it in years, but that is one of my all-time favorite movies. And when you watch it, it fucking makes sense. Okay. It makes sense. And I'm just saying that vampires are real. Okay. And when you watch that movie, well, you can walk away from anything thinking anything is real. So no, that movie though had me like, damn, this is such good storytelling. Come for me if you don't like that movie. But after we get off of this,
it seemed stupid. I never watched it, but I should. Okay.
It's actually really good. And I'm not just saying that. It's actually a really good movie. The acting's good. Like you really think he's Abe Lincoln, like he looks like it. And the plot, like it all makes so much sense. But yes, I did know Abe Lincoln was into seances.
Fair. Okay, enough about Abe Lincoln. We'll get off before Kara needs to go watch a movie. So how do we get from spiritualism, though, to the Ouija board?
Whoa.
Early spiritualist seances and mediumship practice involved communication techniques that were slow, clunky. It was, you know, waiting on the rapping to give an answer, especially if you had to read the whole alphabet out loud. And every time you got a knock, you had to start over. Ain't very efficient.
Nobody has time for that. It's like was like T9 texting.
Right. So we go from rapping to like the table turning, right? Where the table would float and move and twist in response to questions. Then we get the spirit trumpets, which have you ever actually seen a spirit trumpet? It's just an aluminum cone. It's like an early cheerleading megaphone.
Yes.
Okay. Again, back to where I was talking about Dana and Greg's really good 4-part thing on haunted objects. They do a amazing breakdown of spirit trumpets.
Yeah, they do great.
They're new ones. They went away for a while and they just came back with.
I have to listen.
It is paradigm shifting on the way you look at EVPs and ITC. It is really, really interesting. Okay, the first step, though, where we start to get into the Ouija board is when they started to do automatic writing. So, and I'm sure you know this, Kara, it's like when a medium would just use their hand and a pencil, they'd start scribbling until they go into trance, and the spirit would guide their hand to spell out messages for those in attendance.
Yes.
Obviously, though, this had a high level of fakeness going on. Even if it wasn't maybe fake, you know, I'm sure it's like just today, right? Some mediums were doing it at a high level and, you know, people still practice automatic writing and get really interesting results. I've gotten one of these messages from automatic writing that was a really interesting result, but a lot of people were, I'm sure, faking it for money. So in 1853, though, we go to France because spiritualism is going everywhere. Mm-hmm. And a gentleman named Alan Kardec creates an invention that's supposed to take automatic writing to a new level. So a spirit tells him a more efficient method of auto writing. And this is the wild thing. As I've started to go down this hole, so many of the devices that we use all start with a spirit telling people how to make them. Crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
But the spirit suggests that you should attach a pencil to an upturned basket. And then multiple people could put their hands on the basket to amplify the energy. And then the spirit would be able to move the basket and turn the pencil and write out messages on the paper underneath.
Okay.
We start to see like the kind of beginning of where Ouija comes from, or Ouija. That's the other thing. It is pronounced Ouija.
It is Ouija.
And everyone says Ouija, and I'm trying to break the habit. I will go back and forth. I promise you that.
I have been so much trying to, but It's so hard because like we just grew up with a Ouija, but it is Ouija.
Especially
board.
when you look at how it's actually spelled.
Ouija.
Okay. So from there, the upturned basket gets a new design. And this takes a like slightly heart-shaped piece of wood, still with a slot for the pencil. And they put it on little casters so it can move around easy. And this is literally very similar to the modern day planchette we use with Ouija. Planchette is actually a French word that just means tiny plank.
So cute.
I do love that. Plank. I've never thought about that. In fact, I thought, in all honesty, like planchette was an interchangeable, like there were other things that were be considered planchettes. I don't know why.
Oh, no, I can understand that. I mean, I can see that. Yeah.
And this line super well researched. Now, the practitioners of spirit communication got fed up, I'm sure, with the amount of paper they were wasting from all this writing. And they really cared about the trees. And those who were watching it seemed to, not always believe all the messages being written out. So they had to upgrade this thing. We actually don't know where the change happened, but I like to think it was because they were worried about wasting trees. So they made a reusable board upon which the planchette would sit. They removed the pencil, enlarged the hole, and on the board they wrote the alphabet. And now we have what was called the talking board.
Yes.
Okay. So this is like baby Ouija.
Yeah. I was going to say, because wasn't it like, from what I recall from that episode, this is so long ago, I just remember it being like the spiritual movement, like just them actually being like away from everybody and like living in tents and just like segregating themselves from everybody to get into the... Yeah.
So there were a lot of people doing it in parlor games, entertainment, that sort of thing. But now there's two kind of camps, not to use the same word you just had, but there's the spiritualist movement, right? Where a lot of people were like on the end of receiving it and really open to it and about the messages. Then there was like a group within that, the spiritualists, who were really like deep practitioners, honed their mediumship skills, went to these camps. I said, we could spend forever talking about spiritualism.
I just remember that like before the board came about, like they were practicing. Okay. I just want to make sure I was... And
it was likely in one of these camps that the talking board was born. We just don't know who to credit. For the talking board itself.
Okay, I do kind of remember that, yeah.
So we know the planchette was the Frenchman, Kardec. That eventually makes its way over to America, and then talking boards. But now comes into the scene is Elijah Bond and Charles Kennard, who are the birth fathers of the like modern day Ouija board. Charles, he's a Baltimore-based businessman, and he saw an opportunity with the talking boards that the spiritualists were using, and he also saw how much money they were raking in. Like, let's be for real.
Yeah. It's always about the money.
It's always about the money. But he realized with a good layout and clever marketing, they could sell the board to everyday people and market it as a standalone object that no mediums would be needed. So this is a novelty you can now have in your home, and you can, talk to your loved ones whenever you want.
Which is so crazy, though, that if you think about this now and forget about it, like we know that the Ouija board is like for sale everywhere, right? But if you were to just start marketing this for the everyday person now, could you imagine?
And that's the difference, because at this point, there's no negative connotation to the board.
It's wild.
This was like they were selling so well because people were going through so much grief and loss that this is, hey, here's how you like connect with your family. And that they were selling this to largely Christians. Yeah,
because wasn't this around the same time or a little bit after when they were doing what is it called, like the death photos or
yeah, so this is 1858 is the birth of spiritualism. Charles Kennard, he starts making this in 1890.
Yeah, it just makes you think about how close-minded we've become, and you'd think it would be the opposite.
And it's crazy, and we'll get into this, how much it happened overnight with the Ouija board from one specific instance.
It's just wild to me.
In comes now Elijah Bond. Okay. Elijah Bond is a patent attorney, and he hooks up with Charles.
Okay.
And they patent the first talking board. So it's the first time it's ever been patented. And they use the layout we see today. You know, you have yes and no, hello, goodbye, all the alphabet and the numbers. So they gave us the Ouija board that everybody now uses and replicates. Okay. Now, this part is debatable, but Bond's sister-in-law, Helen Peters, was a medium, and she was asked by the two to use the board and ask it what it should be called, and it spells out Ouija.
Yep.
They kind of originally marketed it as it's saying it's the Egyptian word for good luck, which is just not true.
It's not true. Yep.
There's another theory, right, that yes and no in French is oui and ja. So it's the smush together of the yes and no.
Yes and no, yep.
Also, though, there's others who claim that Helen Peters' spirit guide was of a name very similar to Ouija that she learned later, and they thought it might have just been her spirit guide. So a lot of people think that whole part is hoax. Whatever it is, it stuck.
It comes from one of those.
Right. It comes from somewhere. And, you know, for a mystical board, it's a great, great name.
Yeah.
So now, though, the Kennard Novelty Company, so Charles' company, is mass producing the hell out of these boards. In the late 1890s, though, so 1891, they patent it. Just a few years later, there's some like internal fighting that starts to break out in the Kennard company. And Charles made a horrible mistake because when he organized the company, even though it's under his name, there were 5 people on the board who all had equal amounts of power.
Yep.
Charles Kennard is actually ousted from the company he founded.
Which is so... What? It's just crazy.
Wild. And the 4 who were left kind of just like, they ousted him, but none of them actually wanted control. So they take one of just the regular employees, whose name is William Fuld, and they just put him in charge of the entire thing.
Yep.
This guy's an absolute dickhead.
Yep.
He literally claims that he was the first inventor of the Ouija board, rewrites history, credits only himself. He builds factories, expands production, and aggressively markets it. And as you know, he is so successful at this that it took decades until relatively recent history that we even knew that Charles Kennard and Elijah Bond had anything to do with the birth of the board.
It kind of reminds me of tarot. Like how we don't give the proper credit. Even today, like...
Okay, I was so proud of somebody on Facebook Marketplace because, of course, now, you know, you search for something one time and your algorithm. So I get all sorts of tarot stuff on there.
Oh, cute.
And somebody listed their deck. And, you know, it's a Facebook listing. You have to write it.
Okay, so what'd they say?
The Smith Rider Waite. They put her name first.
I love that.
Not only did they include it, but they put her first. I'm like, that's somebody who knows what's up.
Did you buy it?
I didn't because it was... I already have a Rider-Waite Smith deck. You know, I'm looking
Wait, you
for
just
some
said it wrong.
different... No, Rider-Waite Smith at least gives her the credit. That's the correct way to say it now. This person flipped and put Smith first because usually you only see Rider-Waite and you completely leave off the female who did all the art.
But they put Smith.
The most important part of it.
Cute. Love it. Okay.
Okay. William Fuld, the asshole, does get his just rewards in 1927 because he falls off the roof of one of the Ouija factories in a very like Sarah Winchester way because the board told him to build the factory taller. At least is the legend around it. And I would love to believe that that's true.
I mean,
right?
If you're mass producing these boards... You know what, though? I don't know. It's hard to say.
I have no problem with mass production.
Because you could
I have a problem with stealing it.
Well, I have a problem with both. But you could go either way, right? So you could tell the story of him just being like this mass producer and like this entrepreneur. And he just fell off the building or whatever. I don't know. But you could also go with a story of like he believed in it. And so he was being like, as you said, like a very Sarah Winchester. What should I do next? What do I do next? And following the steps from the board. So you could go either way. I mean, I more see him as a stressed out entrepreneur, just like being on the roof pacing and then just calling, or I don't know. I don't know.
I like to believe the legend part of it. I just think he should get his just rewards.
I think he should.
I mean, either way, he did. He's dead.
But I just don't, me personally, I don't know if I believe that he cared, because he was just a random employee that they were like, hey, I don't know if he believed. But
no, he's still, it was the height of spiritualism and the way he was marketed. I think everyone was using him. I think he believed.
Okay.
Now, his family, after his passing, does continue running the business until 1966, when they sold the rights of the board and the business to now people who I don't think believe they were just trying to make a buck. And that would be the Parker brothers.
Yep.
Which now, for any of you youngins out there who don't know Parker Brothers, it is Hasbro Games.
Yep.
Charles Kennard actually did go on to create more inventions after he was ousted from his company. Good for him. Elijah Bond, though, we have to talk about his story for a second, because it's sad, but then it gets great. So he left Baltimore for West Virginia, and he did try to create and patent a different talking board. It never took off. Ouija had already established itself in the market. He does return to Baltimore from West Virginia, and he ends up being buried in an unmarked grave in Baltimore's Greenmount Cemetery. And you know where this is going. In 2007, a paranormal researcher and historian, after years and years, he had been one of the ones who kind of dug up the truth about Kennard and Bond's involvement in the creation of the board, and not just William Fuld. They were able to find his unmarked grave. He was given a headstone. And fittingly, the headstone has an entire Ouija board carved into it. Which is amazing. Ugh. If you haven't seen this too, go look up, pause this and go look up that tombstone. It is really cool. It's one of those things where okay, cool. But when you really think about it and you just go back into the history, it makes you very emotional. And it's just full circle, or just it's just emotional. It's just cool that he got credit at the end. He should have. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So, okay, we've gone through we're in 66 now. It started in 1858, 100 years of Ouija history. Ouija, thank you. But it still doesn't have the negative connotation until just a couple of years after the Parker brothers get a hold of it. Mm-hmm. So, it's a beloved tool. It's marketed as a, medium-free communication device. You're talking to your spirit guides, your past family members, until we hit the 70s, where one of the things we haven't talked about is between the 30s and the 70s, spiritualism really does start to fade. Okay, yep. As Christianity really started to denounce some of occult practices, right? But we also see the counterculture start to take up in the 70s. And that, I think, further separates kind of the church and people who are practicing these things. Mm-hmm. Parker Brothers start to rebrand the board as mystical and forbidden instead of just a novelty. Then 1973, this little movie comes out. I'm sure you probably haven't ever heard of it. It's called The Exorcist. Yeah. So remember the scene where the girl gets possessed from playing with it? I mean, here's the thing. I've never actually fully watched that movie. What? I've watched bits and pieces, but I don't know why I've never sat down and really watched it. I don't know. I've never judged you more than I am right now. That's fine. You haven't watched anything. I know, but any cult classic. So shut the. Oh, seriously. Okay, before we start to fight, this is the moment I told you though, where it gets its sinister reputation overnight. This film comes out, and that thing it's demonized. Which I understand, because that movie is such a pivotal. Oh, absolutely. It set the tone. Watched it fully, but I have watched so many scenes and things of it, so I know everything about it. But yeah, it sets so much for everything. Yeah, it changed how we look at possession. Look at last week's episode. It changed how we look at hauntings and the interaction between the church and things that are going on. This really. If spiritualism wasn't already dead, this put the hammer in the coffin of it. It dramatized hauntings and possession, and it just made it so much more theatrical, obviously. Mm-hmm. But it really just brought it to your home life.
Where at the point of like a Ouija, you were just thinking that you're talking to your dead relatives and you're talking to your loved ones. And that's more like comforting and homey. And then you bring it to this and you're like, oh my God, this is more demonic and sinister and fucked
and
up.
Because what else is happening at this time? Now that's 73. We start to get into the late 70s, early 80s, and we have satanic panic.
Panic.
Right.
Dang, I wish I was Satan right now.
Oh, I know. Your last costume would have been great. So, I mean, at this point, the Ouija board is now fully condemned by the church. It is satanic. It is demonic. And then throughout the 80s, 90s, and even into today, right, it becomes solidified in pop culture, paranormal investigations. It is the evil haunted board that, you know, is going to bring demons and insanity into your life and all this craziness. It might let you talk to your, you know, family members, but you have to be careful. There's so much legend and lore around this thing that I think is really interesting, that at the core of it, there was no evil intention put into this.
So I really kind of feel like, if maybe you can shut me up if I'm going too ahead, but I kind of feel like the Ouija board is more of like a egregore. Is it an egregore or a tulpa? Egregore. Or tulpa is a thought form to be a person. Whatever. One of those. I feel like it's more of like that mass energy that you're putting into these things, right? That is bringing these negative things. If you listen, nope, we're ahead. I was going to say when you get to our Halloween special.
Yes.
It's the energy that you put in. We talk about this all the time. The energy that you put in something, the intention that you put into something, you will get back, right? So
I don't think this falls under the egregore or that thought form as much. I think this would fall under more of possibly intentional haunting.
Yeah.
And it did come out of the spiritualist movement, which, let's be honest, I'm sure real things were happening within that movement, but there was so much hoax. I mean, Harry Houdini literally spent so much of his time debunking.
Oh, we have to cover that.
What was it? Fraud, F-Rod, that his alias?
Yes, I think
But the thing is, right, is and kind of what you're getting into, putting the energy into it. Whether it was ever intentionally by Kennard and Bond and all these people to really work or not, and we'll never know their intentions. People have profound experiences. Profound. Now, for one, I've never gotten one to work. Have you?
I've never used one.
Okay.
We've talked about this. I am terrified.
I've never gotten one to work by moving the planchette. There was an experience I had in high school. Had a Halloween party. Half of us wanted to play with it. Half of us dipped. All of us who played with it, nothing happened. Everyone who dipped and tried to go to bed had terrifying experiences. I have people who still will not go to my parents' house.
Yeah, I know we've talked about this before, both of us. But my mother has always told me when I was little, she instilled never, ever, ever play with it because she had terrible experiences. And she had one that she put on her vanity because she thought it was so beautiful. And she just had it displayed on her vanity with all her stuff on it. She lived in a very haunted house. I'm going to have her come on. She needs to come on. Her experiences are so fucked up. No, Zach, you don't even know. They are messed up. But anyway, she had really bad experiences and she always instilled into me and Kyle, never play with them. I know I've said this before, but when we were at one of our friends' house, Dan, we went into the attic of his garage because we're just dumb kids. And we're like, let's go up here.
Right.
And
As
nothing was up there except for a soul, just this like by itself Ouija board. And I have never shit in my pants and
you're home. Like, I'm out. I'm done.
And I to this day, I don't know if it was like the previous homeowners, his parents, somebody that put that up there, but we had never gone up there before. And that was there. No, I've never touched one.
No, fair.
That's the only, I look at them and I think they're beautiful. Bye.
I've talked to people who have had, they've spoken to loved ones and get really poignant things. They're random spirits. There's, back to your episode, all the names that start with Z or that come through.
I am really afraid to use one.
Why?
Because there's so many rules and I will accidentally break one.
Yeah, but I think those rules have come through the lore rather than the original use of it.
But I know the main one is to not take your hand off of the planchette. And I feel like the second that I'm afraid,
yeah, you would throw your hands up. Absolutely.
Yes. And so I don't want to be involved. That is solely why I don't want one, or I don't want to play with one, because I will ruin the rules.
Yeah, you're such a good rule follower. But, on the other side of it, other than, we have people talking to Zio will not say more than that. You can go back to Kara's old episode.
Yeah, let's not.
Claims have come up over the years, too, that it just drives people to insanity, full demonic possession of their bodies and homes. I mean, one of the most famous Warren hauntings start with a Ouija board.
Yeah.
So I have just like a few really quick, short, notable stories for you.
Love it.
1933, Buffalo, New York. This is the Ouija murder. So a woman named Mina Crandon claimed that the board told her that her neighbor was plotting against her, which led her to stab and kill him.
Oh, I've heard that. Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Later in the 30s, God no. Maddie Turley in Arizona, a 15-year-old girl said that the Ouija board told her to kill her father. She ends up shooting him twice, and she claims she was guided by the spirits of her dead mother and brother.
Well, that might be a little bit different. If your mother and brother died, that's terrifying.
There could be some other things going on there. 1916, the New York Tribune has an article that recounts the cases of multiple cases of mothers and wives who claim that the board foretold the death of soldiers, only to receive telegrams later confirming it. But like on record, it wasn't like they got the telegrams. They're like, oh, the board told us before that. The board told them, and then they got notifications.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So this is like where I know that spiritualism is shrouded in hoax, and it's become a Parker Brothers thing, but people have had really intense.
Okay. Yes, spiritualism is like, okay. What things that aren't like seen by the eye aren't just said that it's a hoax? There are so many different things, right? Like just but regular hauntings. We talk about this all the time.
True.
Like there are always, everything is like being debunked, which we understand, we get, we want things to be debunked to prove the things that we can't prove. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, yeah, spiritualism went through it because, yeah, there were a lot of people hoaxing and making money off of it. But there are still people doing that now.
So here's a weird one for you that I think helped prove the abilities of this board to me, at least a little bit.
Okay.
And this is the case of, I'm gonna do my best. Estefania Gutierrez Lazaro. So she was one of Spain's most famous alleged haunting possession stories because the police report actually records unusual phenomena. So here's kind of the timeline of events. All right. She uses a Ouija board at school with her friends to contact the spirit of a deceased friend's boyfriend. During this session, a teacher broke the board and a piece of glass allegedly exploded nearby, producing smoke, which Estefania inhaled.
Okay.
After the incident, she started suffering from insomnia, seizures, and hallucinations, behavioral changes, and violent outbursts. She ends up dying in 1991, at the age of like 18. Some of the deaths have been, or some of the reasons for her death have been reported as cardiorespiratory failure followed by a convulsive seizure, but with sudden, shocking, and suspicious elements, literally like in her death certificate.
Oh my God.
After her death, the family reports many strange events in the apartment, doors and cupboards opening and closing by themselves, heavy shadows moving, sounds, whispers, laughing, a crucifix being torn and thrown from the wall, temperature changes, strange substances. Hello, last week, the slime appearing right on the walls.
Ugh.
In 1992, Inspector Jose Pedro Negri led police to the family's home. And this is kind of why I was asking you about if the police took photos and videos of it on your episode last week.
Yes.
Because they recorded a lot of the phenomena.
Wow, okay.
Not only them, but neighbors and officers also report, like there's a lot of corroboration on this one, and it all started after the use of a Ouija board.
Wow.
Okay.
Can you say, what was her name again?
Estefania Gutierrez Lazaro. And that is, we could do a whole episode on her. That is a shortened version of it, but it's very interesting.
The whole time I kept thinking of Lady Gaga's real name.
Which
is Stefani Joanne Angelina
Germanata.
I don't know why that I kept thinking I had to.
It's the Estefania.
Estefania. Yeah.
I had the same.
You did very good on her. I think that's a great pronunciation of her name, though.
I could have spent the rest of the episode doing your favorite thing and doing the Reddit stories, and I'm not because there are so many. There are so many.
You wouldn't have been able to pick through and filter.
So instead, we're going to get into some of the skepticism around the board really quickly, because I feel like we're not doing it justice if we don't also bring up the people who have experimented and come up with really good reasons. So obviously the boards, they do work. They move around, they spell things out with people's hand. You know, it's everyone in this who is playing with it. They all put their hands on the planchette. I think that with any tool we use to communicate, any tool, the SB7, dowsing rods, K2 meter, anything, there is real happenstance of it. There is bias of the person who's using it. And there's sometimes a straight up hoax. So I like that people try to use science to explain it. And from the brain of a psychologist named William Benjamin Carpenter, and this was way early on, still during the spiritualist movement, he comes up with the idea of the ideomotor effect, which is what a lot of the skeptics believe is what causes the board to spell things out. And this talks about tiny unconscious muscle movements made by a person in response to thoughts, expectations, or suggestions. The movements are real, physical, and measurable, but it comes from your unconscious brain, so the person is unaware they're making them. He did experiments with pendulums, writing boards, talking boards, automatic writing, and he concluded that the things will move when people expect them to move. While they swear they aren't moving it, it is unconscious motor activity that drives the kinetic energy.
Okay.
So this leads to some psychologists to feel that the board is more of a window to the unconscious than a tool for spirit communication. Okay, so let's stop here for a second, because this is where we can get into my favorite soapbox.
Okay.
We know anomalous things are happening. We don't have the science to explain it yet. I think this is really important, because you can use dowsing rods, you can use pendulums, you can use spirit boards, not only for spirit communication, but also for introspective work. If the ideomotor effect is real, right? Your unconscious brain is creating the movements without you being aware of it. I think that is a scientific explanation for the metaphysical talking with your higher self.
Yeah.
So to take that a step further, right, if we're going to start to at least try to mesh the logic and the metaphysical parts of our brain, and we believe that spirits are able then to use the energy of the living to then interact with us, or the energy of devices or whatnot, right? Who's to say that they're not able to somehow mess with if they're able to mess with electrical devices, maybe they are able to mess with electrical impulses of our brain. Maybe it is all being moved by people and not the spirit, but we can't for sure say where it comes from. I mean, if the greatest scientific explanation we have is that your unconscious mind is moving it without you being aware, then there's possibility to go further than that.
For sure.
So I just thought it was an interesting way of, we have science, they have experiments behind it across, and they didn't just do it with the spirit board. They did it with, like I said, automatic writing, pendulums, all those spiritualist tools.
Yeah, no, they did everything.
So
it's wild.
Who knows? Maybe sometimes you're just talking to your subconscious, your higher self, but I think still that spirits would have the ability to also, if they can manipulate electronics, if we believe, right? Not everyone believes that, but if we believe they can manipulate electronics and our brain works on electronic impulses, then it kind of makes sense. So I don't know. But that is, in less than an hour, 100 years of Ouija history, how it works, and then the skeptical science behind it. Whew.
So that was great and fascinating. Thank you for all of that. That was
You're welcome.
A lot. I loved it. So when we're recording this is September 24th. So this is actually October 23rd. So we're about a month out. But this whole episode, and this is not where you think I'm going.
Oh, I never know where you're going.
I know, but you're really not going to know this one. This whole episode has me thinking about one particular person that is kind of struggling right now. And I know we're a month out. I wish we were sooner because whatever. So if you guys know Becky Ann Galentine, I wish we could call her a friend. We know her. We've met her. She's really struggling right now. And the reason that I'm thinking about her is because she collects haunted objects and she collects Ouija boards. And she has like beautiful ones, like all different, intricate. Oh my God. She is just like, she's a fascinating human, but she's really going through it right now. Very, very hard. She just had a baby and she's going through postpartum. And today she just posted something on Facebook and it really got to me. Like she feels very alone.
It was really deep.
It was very deep. And I literally said I was going to come, and Lauren said, what doors do I have to knock on with a hammer? I said, I'll come with a knife.
I saw that.
But this whole episode, I kept thinking about her. And so I know it's a month out, but it doesn't matter. If you hear this, you know her, you follow her, just send her a positive message. You don't even have to tell her it's from us. Go to her, comment, send a follow, like send a message.
Yeah. Just
so she knows she's not alone, because we don't have kids. What I will say is that last week we talked about me going through having, I don't even know what particularly yet, but I am so emotional and not myself right now. And I feel insane. So I can't imagine what she feels like birthing a human and having this little being and then feeling so alone. So that's my little message. If everybody go blow up Becky Ann Galentine.
I love that.
And let's just, yes.
Can I expand on it a little bit?
Yes.
We're also getting into November and December and January, which is the sad season, seasonal affective disorder. Look out for all your people.
We got to be here.
Blow everybody up with kindness. Doesn't matter if they're going through something or not.
Even if,
Look out for your fellow human beings.
When somebody comes into your mind, that's your sign that that's your subconscious, like they need you.
Yep.
Shoot them a text, a message, a DM. I don't even give a shit what it is. And I've done it in the past so many times where I've been like, hey, this is so weird. I haven't talked to you in so many years, but something said that I should just like message you. How's it going?
And even if nothing's going wrong, at least you still brighten their day.
Yes.
Okay. Before we start to get too down at the end here, not down. I think it's a message of positivity, but I think we should probably also start wrapping it up and let these people going, because they have 7 days to figure out their Halloween costumes.
I have to pee.
And Kara has to pee. So if you've had Ouija, I'm going to break my habit at some point. Ouija experiences, write us in.
Ooh.
Write into us. Tell us about that.
What emoji do you want?
Ooh, I don't know if there's like a planchette or anything. So what about a little crystal ball? I think the crystal ball would be perfect for this one.
Okay. Or I was going to say a black heart, because it's kind of like a Ouija.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Black heart, crystal ball. We never decide on just one. What else do these people need to do before we close up the shop for the day?
Again, when you leave those emojis, tell us what you're going to be for Halloween if you're going to dress up, and guess what we're going to be for Halloween.
Ooh, and come see us November 7th through 9th, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Mysteries of the Fort. Absolutely.
All right, that's really about it, because I do have to go to the bathroom so bad. This wolf is not doing well, and that's about it. The most important thing you can do, besides telling all of your friends and loved ones to literally subscribe to us, because we never say to do that. Please subscribe, spread the word.
We say that 8 out of 10 episodes, but I still stand by it.
If you guys love us, we love doing this, keep us going, share us. But the most important thing you can do for us is to creep a reel, my little oddballs.
Goodbye.
Bye.